Welcome to your August reading. The sun is setting, and here we are. Jupiter and Saturn are retrograde. Uranus goes retrograde on the 20th of August, and it can get a little bit hectic. There is a balance here that wants to be reached between what you expect from other people and what you need, and them feeling like you're expecting too much, turning it around on you, making you feel like your needs perhaps aren't valid or you're asking for too much. There are things that you have been afraid to talk about. You've kept the peace for the most part. But in August, something in you is like, no, even if it brings the tower moment, like, I want to talk about it. I don't expect too much, but the fact that you're constantly trying to talk me into this narrative where I do is something that needs to be talked about, because it's indicative of a lot of other dynamics that I'm dealing with. So, although the Tower is not the most pleasant card, it has a tendency to clear the way, clear the mind, clear out the situation. When the Tower comes up, we know big change is coming. So August is full of big change. And last month, your career was highlighted. You had the spotlight when it came to work. And this month, you start to see the dividends that spotlight paid you. Your work, you're excelling at work. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the pat on the back that you want. It doesn't necessarily mean that you get the promotion you want. This is not about affirmation. This is just about you doing your best at work and the money coming back to you because of it, whether it comes back from that particular job or that career or that business. Somehow, because you are adding so much value and the value that you're adding is fantastic, it makes its way back to you. On the 16th, we have Venus entering your sign, and between the 11th and the 30th, we have Mercury. But that means until then, they'll be right behind you in your subconscious. This can be, again, Tower moment, really disconcerting, because it's dismantling so much of your subconscious beliefs about money, about love, about how liked you are, about your image, right? Many Libras are struggling to find what their new image is. You may feel stuck between worlds, who you used to be and who you want to be next, and really searching for the authenticity in it, because you know better than anyone that to market yourself properly, to present properly, one must first know who they are. So it can be a bit troubling for you to have all this attention and light being, put on your subconscious. It can be uncomfortable, kind of like that is right now. But it does give you a chance to reconnect perhaps with parts of you that you put away a long time ago. Parts of you really liked, but you were influenced and you convinced yourself that the new you was better. But this trip through your subconscious reminds you that the old you wasn't so bad. In fact, I bet there are a lot of things that the old you would not have put up with. That you got talked out of being? That one. So, is there somebody out there you want to reconnect with? I think it's you. I think it's the version of you that really knew what they wanted and what they wished for. They weren't tainted by what other people told you was cool or cooler. Libras don't have to be cool. You're beautiful and smart. Cool is a badge that people hide behind when they don't have everything all in one package. Cool is the sulking kid who's covering up all the trauma they can't deal with. Cool is oftentimes the most inauthentic. So maybe it's better to be yourself than it is to be hip, than it is to be cool. And plus, how much pressure does that put on you? And how hard do you make it for yourself when you want to change? How many people do you have to explain yourself to? If you want different things now, how many people have to sign off on the new old you before you're okay with going forward? I know that's a lot of questions, but they all lead to this same conclusion. Who makes you happy? You or their opinions? Now, if I was asking anybody else, that would be rhetorical. But with you guys, that's a real concern. That's a real question. It's a deep question that you should absolutely be asking yourself. The moon, temperance, the Four of Swords, and the sun. So much of what you would like to keep hidden is thrown in your face, not in anybody else's. You're not exposed in front of anyone, but you to yourself. So much of what you hid away long ago comes back to you. So much that now wants to be reintegrated. That balance you seek, it's not just between the heart and the mind. That balance now is between your ambition, your identity, your friends, your ambition, your love life, your ambition, the real you, the cool you, the old you, the new you. So much to think about. But instead of the scales here, you have the balance that the guardian angel brings. And that Sag card is always going to be the one that gives you that momentum to look outside of what you have been and where you have been. My point is, where do you jump off from? Moving forward requires you to have a firm base when you start. Do you start from where you are, or do you get back to who you really are and then start? With all this going on in your subconscious, I would suggest you get back to who you really are. You may have this urge, for example, to reminisce about, old photos of you and old jobs you used to do or old partners. You're finding your way back to the you that was completely unadulterated. That may actually slow you down a little bit because it's a lot to think about and regrouping can be tiring. But As soon as the sun moves into Virgo, you have a calmness. The Four of Swords speaks to that as well. A calmness that takes over. And you know somewhere inside, like, okay, everything is going to be okay. From the 16th on, work on your image. Don't make any big decisions. Just get as clear as you can on who you are right now. So when you do move forward, when you do make these huge leaps, which you will, your footing is strong. There's no fear in you. There's no insecurity. There's no paranoia about being found out. You're just you. Ugh. Love you. Hi Libra, welcome to the second part of your reading. I am so incredibly sorry that it has taken me so long to put the rest of the readings up. I have in fact been going through my own tower moment, yay! But thankfully, alhamdulillah, it's all coming to a close and your video is called Process. So what better video to get back into it with than this, as we all have been processing and continue to process throughout today until we reach that Lionsgate portal tomorrow on August 8th. So Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus retrograde. What does that mean for you? It's a tower moment. And it's a tower moment in that it becomes really clear to you after a very long time that either you haven't gotten what you need or you were getting what you need and you didn't realize it until it was too late. So either way, okay, whichever scale, whichever side of the scale this tower moment ends up happening on, it is very disruptive. Why? Because you do pride yourself on being appropriate, giving others what they need, giving yourself what you need, self-care, attention to beauty, attention to aesthetic, all those stereotypical things that we can say about Libra, they have a theme running throughout them, and that theme is care. So for you to be asked this, seemingly simple question of, are you getting what you need? It can actually cause a cascade of realizations within you. Like I said, either that you were getting what you needed and you opted out of a situation that actually was good for you, or that you're still in a situation where you're not getting what you need. So either way, it is very disruptive. But as I like to remind you often, the great thing about the tower moment is that it brings in sweeping change. So if you have been stuck in a lull, if you have been stagnant, if you have been feeling like something needs to change, but you just don't know what needs to change, this is the perfect time for you to enjoy your tower moment, because it means that things finally begin to move. And how do they begin to move? They begin to move in your favor. Now, the key to the Ace of Pentacles is not expecting anything. The thing about this belief that we play with in the Rev Fam of the fountain is that everything that is for you is looking for you. So if you become still enough inside your mind, well, hold on one second. Hey, Baba, could you keep it down? I'm sorry. If you can keep your expectations not low, but if you can rein your expectations in enough that they don't become needs, that you don't feel that you need something. See, we're dealing a lot with need. Are you getting what you need? What is it that you actually need? Because sometimes what we do is we'll deflect. If we're not getting what we need in one arena, we'll start to think we need a lot more of something else in another aspect of our lives because we're compensating, okay? So if you don't expect too much, if you don't put this need behind your wants, which implies to the universe that you don't have the thing. When the universe hears that you don't have the thing, it hears you want more of not having that thing. Okay, this is how expectations get us in trouble. So if you keep your expectations to a point where you're excited about them, you're positive about them, it doesn't turn into a need, it doesn't turn into anything desperate, then the Ace of Pentacles comes in easy. Now, the other part of this is once you figure out the answer to that Tower moments, it will be very difficult for you not to be hard on yourself. You will immediately, especially if you have Virgo placements or Scorpio placements, you will immediately begin to blame yourself for continuing to stay, or that you got out of a situation you should have stayed in. And basically, whatever the answer to your question is, am I getting what I need? The culprit, okay, behind whatever answer it is you. In your mind, it's your fault because you should have known better, you should have been smarter, you should have seen it coming. All of the things we tell ourselves when we don't want to put the blame where it actually belongs. A lot of the time, you have difficulty putting the blame where it belongs because you don't want to put things on other people. Okay, you can say a lot of things about Libras, but what you can absolutely not say is that you don't handle your shit. You handle your own shit. Right? So that means that no matter what the situation is, there's a great side to that. You know, you don't lean too much on people. You don't smear your problems all over anybody else. But the downside of it is that any situation, the ultimate culpability is on you. You are the one to blame in your mind. And if you veer off in that direction, it will be very, very difficult for you for the next 3 weeks. It becomes very difficult to navigate a situation that is so vulnerable and sensitive if the whole time you're going to be beating yourself up. So please, whatever you do, stay away from what is admittedly your natural instinct to take responsibility for your thing. Don't. This is not about beating yourself up because even if, listen, worst case scenario, it is your fault. Okay? That still doesn't solve anything. This is empty, and all it does is cause more pain. So instead of whose fault is this, let's move right to an intellectual approach. How do we fix it? If you have someone in your life, especially if they are a Vedic Aquarius, okay, then you're dealing with someone that you really want to reconnect with. Somehow you messed up that situation. Somehow something happened. See, I'm doing it too. You messed up. Somehow the situation became messed up. This is someone that you want to, either in a professional way or a personal way, you want to reconnect with this person. But you have to ask yourself, why do I want to reconnect with this person? And is this a way for me to get away from or distract myself from all the beating up of myself that I'm doing? We don't want to reconnect with anyone as a form of distraction. You want to reconnect with people that you deeply feel for and that make you feel the way you should always feel. 9 of Cups, I'm good. I don't need anything outside of myself. I'm good. Okay, now there's something else here with the moon. This is the time to bring up things that up until now you have been afraid to talk about. Things for whatever reason, whether they were hidden within your life or hidden within someone else's life, things you know about someone that you need to confront, whatever it is that you have been hiding, okay? Or the fear has been eating you up because you just didn't feel that these are topics that you're allowed to speak on without getting a huge backlash. These are things that by the end, I'd say like the end of the 3rd week of August, you're just not able to let your fear overcome you anymore. You overcome your fear and you're like, we have to talk about these things. I am shining this light on this subject and you can do whatever you want with that. Now, these are the archetypal, this is how, in terms of archetypes, these two cards work in your reading. If you're talking about an actual Aquarius or a Pisces, we'll talk about that in the extended. But this is really about understanding how this major arcana plays into your life as this archetypal idea. So the moon being that which sheds light, the full moon, okay, that which sheds light on what people would like to do in the dark only. Things that people do in the dark that they never think the light will be shed upon. Okay, so those are some risky things, and you have been right to be afraid so far. You have probably been peer pressured into not saying anything. So this is a time where by the end of August, like third week of August, you're just not afraid anymore. Whether it's that, Libras have this propensity of letting people push things as far as they can. And then there's just this breaking point, and then you see a completely different side of them. Then the scales tip. And once the scales tip, you're not dealing with someone who is going to respect your feelings, respect your space. Then you guys get angry. And when you get angry, you are just. You tell the truth. And in many cases, Libras have all the tea. Libras hang on to everyone's secrets. But if you push them far enough, okay, they realize the Mr. Nice Guy routine is not working with you, then they're going to show you the other side. Okay, up until now, you want to deal with Dr. Jekyll. That's true. That's cool. I get you. Who doesn't want to deal with Dr. Jekyll? But if you want to be Mr. Hyde, you absolutely can. Right? Now, the reason you're able to do this with such power, such panache, is because, yes, I said panache, is because you do the hard work of forgiving yourself and processing whatever this tower moment is for you. You do it early. Now, for some of you, this tower moment really is as simple as you have started making a lot more money than you used to. And you don't know how to reconcile that with the rest of your life. And there's others of you thinking, how could that be something difficult? I will say it again. In the I Ching, it's very clear that shock, the hexagram of shock, is just as related to good things happening to you as bad things happening to you. Shock is just a cascade of changes that happens in your life, and it is very disruptive. That can be good things too, because it's going to bring up wounds. It's going to bring up pain. It's going to, right? All of a sudden, if you have this influx of money, you now have to reconcile with the person you already are and the person you used to be. So you want to be really easy and kind with yourself while you're going through this. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to deal with. But by the third week of August, you're like, I did the work. My mess is taken care of. Let's deal with your mess now. Now, you're going to do it in a fair way. You're going to do it as the intellectual that you are, which means that you're going to try to see every side of the story. You're going to be that Sag energy that looks far, far into the future, that makes connections that other people can't see. And you will find a way to turn what could just be meaningless spilling of tea into something really profound and meaningful for everyone involved. Okay? There are insights here that only you are privy to, and we need you to speak up about them. I don't want to go too far, but this is one of my favorite, sayings from the Bible. It is a sin to have information that would help other people and not share it with them. It is perhaps the greatest sin of omission that you can commit, right? You have a commitment to the truth. You have a commitment to saying it how it is and seeing it how it is. And if you temper that, okay, with an approach where you can see far enough into the future and you can make connections laterally, right? You can work in every direction at once, okay? And you are able to bring together elements that necessarily have nothing to do with each other, people who have nothing to do with each other, perhaps even people who, because of this tea spilling, are very hurt or very offended. You're able to bring people together because your approach is so classy. And again, that's a very stereotypical word used for Libras, but you really do embody a lot of class. Even when you read people for filth, you do it in a way that's so strong. You remain in your power. You don't stoop. You are always within your power first. And here, this is a reminder that don't forget who you are, even when things get tough, even when the conversations get rough. You still have to be who you are. And that person is not messy. Anyone in your life that is trying to make a mess out of your life, you have to start doing the hard work of identifying those people for exactly what they are and put this loyalty to the side, this loyalty that you can at times give to the wrong people, right? Overall, it's a wonderful trait and everybody loves you for it. But sometimes you're loyal to people out of a fear, out of this sense of inadequacy, out of some fear of mediocrity, because these people, they prop you up. They make you feel better about yourself. But here's my thing. You should feel good about you. You shouldn't need people to make you feel better about you, because anyone who's in the position to give you that drug is your pimp. Like, I'm sorry to put it that way, but like they control you because they're giving you a drug that you desperately need. You shouldn't need that from anybody else. And I'm not here to preach to you on that. That's just what this month is teaching you. Okay, so if it sounds harsh coming from me, imagine how harsh it's going to be when the moon is like, okay, do your thing. Okay, now, aside from that, you have Venus on the 16th. You have Mercury from the 11th to the 30th. You have all the energy you need to do all the good work. But, and you will be handsomely rewarded for it. Okay? But here is the thing that you have to keep in mind. Even when all that is going on and you feel that overdrive kick in at work, you must prioritize your mental rest. Things are very hyped up right now. Everyone is very hyped up. Everyone's blood is up. There's a lot of exciting things happening. There's a lot of scary things happening. You have to be honest with yourself that you are an open channel of information. And that requires rest. It is impossible to process the things that you will have to deal with in the next 3 weeks without prioritizing your peace of mind, which comes from mental rest. That means putting the phone away, turning off the computer, turning off YouTube, putting your phone on do not disturb, read a book, take a walk, leave your phone at home. Like, do something where you really feel your brain clear out. The most important thing that you can do, and now we know this, I'm going to take it in a physiological direction for a second. Now we know that part of what can cause Alzheimer's and Parkinson's is a lack of REM sleep, because it is during that REM sleep cycle that the brain filters out any impurities that may be running around there. Okay? And especially out of your cerebrospinal fluid, from what I understand of the study. So in the same way that your brain needs REM sleep to clear itself out, in the same way you need this disconnect from everything and everyone to clear your energy out, because you are processing a hell of a lot. But you end the month feeling extremely successful. And it's funny because for the first time ever, perhaps, you don't need a pat on the back for it. You don't need anyone to tell you, oh my God, you're so successful. Oh my God, you're doing so well. Oh my God, you know it already. You know it to the point where even if someone wanted to affirm you, you're like, yeah, thanks, I got this. Now, those of you who aren't quite there yet, you may still want that affirmation. You may still want that pat on the back or that acknowledgement. And I'm sorry to tell you, but this is not the month that you're going to get it. The work you do, the energy you put out will come back to you. You will feel the success. You will feel the power. But if you are looking for that additional affirmation from the external, a person, a boss, a family member, a partner, whatever it is, you're not going to get it. And that is also part of the lesson. That you don't need that, okay? Nobody needs to teach you how to balance your scales. You know how to do that. That is the nature of scales. That's what they do. You don't need to have someone tell you that you can do that. That is what you do. That is who you are. You don't need someone to tell you how extremely intelligent you are, how effective you are, how reliable you are, how good to people you are, how good your heart is. Those are all things that you don't need someone to reconfirm for you. These are things that you know. And if you don't know them yet, this month is going to teach you. Okay, this is all about you being on the path you're supposed to be on with the right people. Good? Good. Oh my God, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. In the extended, we're going to talk about your subconscious, the motivations that your subconscious has. We're going to talk about your psychocybernetic settings. We're going to talk about how you relate to Cancers, how you relate to Pisces, how you relate to Aquarius. But I don't want you to think that it's only about that. What we've started doing in the extended, and which is why they've become 30 minutes long, is because we don't just look at this as the Pisces card. We're not just going to look at this as the Cancer card. We're going to look at the archetypal meaning of this card and how it applies to your life. Very nice. How it applies to your life in general, but also according to these themes that you're playing with in August. And we go through the whole deck. Okay. If you would like to take a look at that extended reading. Oh, and it's very important that you not make the huge decisions, right, until you understand your motivations. We're not doing anything like by the seat of our pants. Okay. If you would like to take a look at that extended is available as always on Vimeo. There's also an instant extended PayPal link where you just go straight to a PayPal checkout site and you get your reading in your inbox. Or if you prefer the Patreon method, you then get access to part 1 of this reading, which has been up for about a week and a half. This part 2 as it's called, and the extended, if you are subscribed to the Libra tier. If you are subscribed to the Libra plus the ZA tier, you get all the Instagram lives, all the live readings, all the live meditations, all the ZA walks included in the Libra plus the ZA tier. I hope that clears up any confusion. If you are interested in a personal reading, you can receive a recorded 7 to 10 minute Cameo reading at the Cameo link below. And if you're interested in taking a look at the astrological transits of the day and how they apply to your sun, moon, rising, come on over to Instagram and join the Rev Fam at The Quietest Revolution and hang out. We're friendly. We don't bite. We love you. If you are interested in these beautiful rings, this is the World Ring. It's our latest offering, and this is the Empress. Both of these rings are available at the links below, as well as a link to an Instagram where you can check out Rev Fam wearing these gorgeous pieces, and they are truly beautiful. You can also find all of this and more at ambercon.com. There will also be a link below. It's an Eventbrite link for a Zoom event that we are having in a few weeks. It is the Virgo season satsang. We will be talking about all things Virgo. That link will be below as well. Oh my God, I love you. I'll see you in the extended right now.